Hi students, welcome back. This is Dharmila and now I'm going to start chapter 3 from computer application. Introduction to database management system. In this chapter we are going to learn a lot of things based on database management system, and this video will be very short and just an introduction. So these are the topics we are going to discuss: introduction, features of database management system, definition, evolution of DBMS, about punch cards, file system and its limitation, and the last topic is DBMS concepts. In that you're going to learn about ACID property and concurrency control and locking mechanism. So these are the topics we are going to discuss in this video. Now let us start with the first topic, introduction to database management system. So DBMS stands for Database Management System. So in short, we say it as DBMS. Before getting into database topic, we should know what is data. We all know that data is a raw fact. It can be name of a person, place or anything. Database is a place where we store the data, we retrieve the data, and finally we manage the data. So why there is a need to store the data? We store data for future reference. So making use of the stored data is called as retrieve. That process is called as retrieve. And managing all the stored data in a systematic form is called as database. And the software is database management system. Now let us see what are the good features of DBMS. First of all, DBMS is used for storing data and we expect protection for our data. And also we expect the method of entering data should be user friendly. So these are the two features for good DBMS, and based on this feature there are so many popular database management system, and here I have listed two DBMS. One is MySQL and the other one is Oracle. So in this lesson you will be learning about MySQL based on XAMPP server. Now let us see the definition of DBMS. A database management system is a system software for creating and managing databases. The DBMS provides users and programmers with a systematic way to create, retrieve, update and manage data. So we collect the data and we store, we manipulate the data, we update the data, we do all such things, but in which form? What type of data is collected? What type of format is used? All these are still a question mark. Now let us discuss about that also. What type of data is stored in a database? We collect data from user, and by grouping only related data together and storing them under one group name called table. So normally we collect data and we enter into a table. This way we create the database. And we also name the table. Why? Because this helps to identify where the data is stored under what name. So for example, this is a table with 3 columns named ID, name, age, and totally 2 records are stored, 2 rows are inserted. Now let us discuss how this DBMS developed, that is the evolution of DBMS. So it started before 40 years and they had so many different formats. First of all, they used punch cards for storing data. So in +1 we have learned that in first generations of computer they used punch cards as the input. Likewise, they have used many format. In that the next format is file system. So let us discuss about punch cards first. So this is punch cards and the card will be punched in different pattern. They are actually stored for different purpose. To store the data, to store the program, and they later used as input for mathematical calculations also. This is another picture of punch cards, and this also is used for storing data. To store this punch cards alone, we need to have a large space. That was the drawback in punch cards, and later they introduced file system. File system is a familiar topic. You all know about folders, about files, and its formats. So creating a folder and storing all the related files in one particular folder is called as file system. This is another picture. You can see how the data are maintained. We do create folders in different drive and we name it properly, and inside one folder we do have multiple folders, and we finally store the data into the folder. You all will have the experience of creating folder and storing all the files into your folder. So this is a very familiar topic. Now let us see the limitations of file system. The very first drawback of file system is data duplication, and then high maintenance, and the last one is less security. So while creating the folder and saving files, sometimes we save the same file in multiple places. That is what called as data duplication. Now what happens if that same data is stored in multiple places? Actually the storage capacity is wasted, and later we go for higher memory space, which means we have to purchase secondary storage devices, and this is not going to provide security for your data also. Now look at this example. It is a file processing system. In this system, same file is used in multiple places. So this is how we are going to waste the memory space, and always we depend on higher memory space. To overcome this limitation, we introduced DBMS concepts. There are a few standards that is applicable for all type of database management system like RDBMS and ODBMS. Now actually what they are going to do, they are not going to duplicate files. Instead they are going to share same data, which avoids many limitations. To achieve this concept, we are in need of using this asset property. So now let us discuss about asset property. So first of all, A stands for atomicity, which means transactions are all or nothing. So what is transaction? So already we said that database is in a format of table. So inserting data in a table, updating existing data, or deleting, all these actions are called as transaction. So whatever transaction we do, it will be updated successfully or it will be aborted, which means failure. So that is what atomicity. Either it will be successful or failure. This is what atomicity. And the next concept is consistency, which means only valid data is saved. Then isolation. Transactions do not affect each other. So multiple tables will be available. Updation will be done for all the tables. So they are not going to affect each other. The last one is durability. Written data will not be lost. It will be saved permanently. This is the overall concept of asset property. The last topic of this video is concurrency control and locking. So DBMS mechanism is used to share the data. So when some data is shared among multiple users, proper access control is needed, and privilege of changing the application data item is controlled through locking, which means when data is shared among multiple users, we are supposed to maintain some privilege, which means permissions. We are going to block somebody and we are going to allow someone to access the data. So to be more clear, look at this picture. Now this road is accessible for everybody. If there is no traffic control, for sure accident will take place. So all the roads are not allowed to access at the same time. A systematic procedure should be followed here to maintain the traffic control. So we used to block certain roads and we allow other passengers to travel. And after some time we release the block. The same thing done here in database management system. When multiple users are attempting to share the same data, we used to change the privilege of all the users. Privilege means certain permissions to read, to access, all these are called as privileges. While sharing data, privilege will be granted for only one user and it will be blocked for other users. So after completing the transaction, that particular user should release the lock so that this entity will be available for other users. This is the technique of locking mechanism. So we have completed few topics about database management system. We started with introduction and we discussed a lot about evolution of DBMS and few concepts of DBMS. So let us discuss other topics in upcoming videos. That's all for today. Thank you.